Have you ever had a dream so big, so powerful that it blinded you? Have you ever believed so deeply in a new beginning that you ignored the warnings, the red flags, the quiet voice in the back of your head telling you to turn back? I did, and it nearly destroyed me. Dubai, the city of gold, the land of dreams, where money flows like water, where life is fast, dazzling, intoxicating. I thought I was stepping into paradise. I thought I was about to live the life I have always imagined. I had no idea that I was walking straight into a trap. This is my story, a story of love and deception, power and control, a story how a single decision can change everything. And if you think this can't happen to you, think again, because I was just like you until the moment I wasn't. Let me take you back to the night it all began. The night I left everything behind, thinking I was chasing my dreams, when in reality I was running straight into a nightmare. They say Dubai is the city of dreams, a place where fortunes are made, where the streets shine with gold, and where life is never-ending luxury. I believed it too. I thought my life was about to change forever. And it did. Just not the way I imagined. I remember that night so clearly. The night I left everything behind. It was my first time flying alone. My heart raced with excitement. I had my entire future packed into one suitcase and a one-way ticket to Dubai. I was leaving behind my old life, my struggles, my past, ready to start again. A new job, a new country, a fresh start. That's all I wanted. That's all I thought it would be. If only I had known what was waiting for me on another side. Dubai was like a dream. The moment I stepped off that plane, I felt like I had entered another world. The heat wrapped around me like a heavy blanket. The scents of oud and expensive perfumes filled the air, and everywhere I looked, luxury. Fast cars, towering skyscrapers, women in designer dresses, men in crisp white conduras walking in a quiet authority. It was intoxicating. I had never seen anything like it before. I had a job lined up, a place to stay, and a plan. Or at least I thought I did. But life has a way of rewriting your plans when you least expect it. And then I met him. It happened so casually, so unexpectedly, that I barely noticed how quickly my world began to shift. He was older than me, by how much I wasn't sure, but he carried himself with the kind of confidence that made people stop and listen when he spoke. He wasn't just rich, he was powerful. You could feel it in the way he looked at people, in the way they looked at him. He noticed me before I noticed him, and when he spoke, it was like I had already fallen under his spell. "You are not from here," he said, a small knowing smile playing on his lips. I remember laughing, nodding, feeling a strange mix of excitement and intimidation. He asked me about my life, my plans, and for the first time in a long time, I felt seen. It did not take long before we were inseparable. Dinners at the most expensive restaurants, long drives in his sleek black car, the city lights flashing past us, gifts that I never asked for but always accepted, a life I had only seen in movies, now suddenly mine. I should have been happy. I should have felt like the luckiest girl in the world. But even in the midst of all that luxury, a small voice in the back of my mind whispered and whispered and whispered again, "Something isn't right." It started with little things. The way his eyes darkened when I spoke to another man, even in passing. The way he would joke about how should I dress, how should I speak, who I should spend time with. At first, it felt like care, like love. "I just want to protect you," he'd say. "You don't understand how men think here." So I changed. I stopped wearing certain clothes. I stopped talking to certain people. I convinced myself that this was what love was supposed to feel like. Intense, overwhelming, all-consuming. I ignored the warning signs. I ignored the sinking feeling in my stomach. Every time he raised his voice, every time he gripped on my wrist tightened just a little too much, every time I felt like I was losing a piece of myself. Because by then, I had already convinced myself of one thing: I couldn't leave. I didn't realize in that time, but the moment I met him, my life stopped being my own. The walls around me were closing in, slowly, silently. And by the time I noticed, there was no escape. Tomorrow, I'll tell you how it got worse, how the fairy tale turned into a cage, how the city of gold became my prison, the prison I never saw coming. Stay with me, because this is the only beginning.
الله